Hi, today I'm using the Thoth Tarot in this series of using a different deck every reading until I've used them all up. And I'm going to look at one side will be either one person or one approach, and the other side will be the other person or another approach. So it doesn't have to be to do with the person. In the middle, I'm going to have two cards. One is going to be what is for the situation. So it's a pros and cons reading, okay? What's for the situation, and then what might be against it. So let's have a look. Pros and cons reading. Okay, so one side is the Three of Discs, Three of Pentacles, the Empress, and the Two of Swords. The other side, or the other person, is Ruin, Ten of Swords, Two of Wands, and the Hanged Man. Okay. Now we've got the pros. So what is for the situation or this person, and what is maybe against them. Or the situation. So on this side, the Three of Pentacles, this is about collaboration, working together. I think it's the card of material wealth or something like that, or work, or I can't remember what it's called in this deck. But it's about progression. It's a very positive energy. And then you've got the Empress card, so another three. So you're creating something here. You're creating something here with togetherness. And here you've got the Two of Swords, which is about perhaps a bit of indecision, but basically a positive attitude, but with a little bit of uncertainty. Okay, so as I said, this could be a person, this could be two sides to the story, or different ways of looking at a situation. This way is looking at it in a positive light. You're looking at what you can create, what you can build. It doesn't necessarily see barriers, but it's just a bit unsure of the outcome. But overwhelmingly, the threes are generally positive, and these two cards are very positive. So over here, you've got the Ten of Swords. I think that was called the Lord of Cruelty. It's Mars and Gemini, so it's head fuck energy. It's extreme, mental conflict. You could be sort of fighting against yourself in your mind, or things have just been so difficult and trying mentally, so stressful and worrying, or that person is causing that. You've got the Two of Wands, which is kind of an energy of planning, but it can also can be, that duality, sort of fighting against yourself in some way. So there's some sort of opposition here on this side. The Hanged Man. The Hanged Man can sometimes be, literally being, well, not literally being suspended, but being suspended as in being stopped from doing something, prevented from continuing on that path, something out of your control. And this is certainly what it feels like here. Now, the pros of this situation or this person is and this is the Page of Discs. So they're very different energies, but here this is an energy of focus. It's an energy of learning. So there could be something to learn in this situation or from this person. It's an earth energy, so it's a real steadying energy. It almost feels like, it goes hand in hand with this kind of energy, learning from others. It's also the beginning stages, so it is something that can be built on. It has an energy of newness, an energy of youth to it. So this one here, this is the eight of wands. So this is an energy, and the card itself is called swiftness. So it's an energy of rushing. It's an energy of fast action. It's an energy of being really propelled forward. It sometimes can be an energy or a card of communication. I think it might be Mercury and Sagittarius. I think that's where the communication energy comes from. I know it's Sagittarius, so it's really a card of a lot of momentum. It's almost like a card of once this energy gets started, you can't stop it. So with that being the con, there might be a tendency or a perception of really having to rush, and it's saying, well, don't rush this situation. The Empress is a patient sort of energy, and it can be an energy of really waiting for things to develop. This is also not a super fast energy, being that earth energy. So this here, if this was a person, for example, this would be, if we're talking love in this situation, a romantic opportunity or partner or prospect, then you'd be looking at somebody who perhaps doesn't really want to go forward, or the Hanged Man can be a different perspective. It can be even somebody who is actually, what shall we say, attached because they are unable to move. You know what I mean? They are already connected to somebody else. It would be an energy to be very careful about, and therefore how I would read this is, if it was a love situation, is one person is fairly perhaps fairly grounded, fairly centered, wanting to create something going forward, but is just a little bit unsure about the other partner. This person is not showing signs of going forward, might have some sort of mental strife, a breakdown, or some sort of conflict going on. Definitely conflict, and this is fire energy. So the recommendation would be to definitely not rush it, and to see what you can learn about this person. And that's what it would be, to really take things slow and to find out a bit more, educate yourself a bit more, learn a bit more about this person and where they're at, really. If it was a situation, it would be similar, really, and it might be a case of finding out more about the practical side of things and the possibility of, is there scope to grow this, or is it just hasn't got it together, hasn't got enough of what is necessary to make this productive at the moment? And definitely don't rush into any sort of communication contracts or anything like that. So hopefully that's helpful. Cheers.